Welcome. This is Milton Herring, international speaker, author, trainer, and coach, where each week I bring you inspiring stories, real steps to achieve your peak potential, and an encouraging message to move you from minimal living to a life maximized. Thanks for spending time with me today, and now let the training begin. Hey, Maximizers, thanks for joining today. An awesome interview with DJ Lester, who's an athlete, he's an author, he's a coach, he's a speaker, and an all around gentleman. And wanted to introduce him to you. He's been on our show before, but he's got a new book. He's been re-releasing as well as starting his speaking engagements, and has a lot to share right now when it comes to this the pandemic, and I think it might even correlate to what we're experiencing with the unrest in our country today with anxiety and uncertainty. But I wanted to share him with you today. I'm excited for this interview, and I hope you really enjoyed. Please let us know, give us some feedback, comments. You can go to miltonherring.com. Also, DJ Lester has his website as well, and he'll announce it at the end of this episode. But yes, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we'd love to hear from you when it comes to maximizing any given moment in your life towards success. Without further ado, let's jump in.
You find out life's this game of inches. So is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, one half a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us.
Hey, Maximizers, thanks for joining me today. This is your host, Milton Herring, and I'm doing a 2-on-1 today. And he's been on my show before, and we're bringing him back because there's some cool, exciting stuff happening again, and it's going to change a lot of lives. DJ Lester, welcome, buddy.
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, So I'm glad to be here, So
Yeah.
things going with you, man?
For sure. If you guys, just a quick bio of DJ is he's actually a free agent. He's an American football player. He's a receiver. He played college at University of Wyoming. He is an arena football player, and he's training right now hard to get that contract again. And I'm excited to have him. He's an author. He's helping out children and youth, and he's been an overall probably one of the best men that I know right now is making a difference in lives. And I'm just so excited to have him on today. And we're gonna dive in a couple topics that are really gonna hit home with some people that are gonna be listening to this. I believe, DJ, and that's dealing with a lot of fear and anxiety, especially around the coronavirus and what's going on. As it's very real today, and just kind of some breakthroughs. How can we help you break through during this time? That it's not a traumatic experience, but it's a growth experience for you that you're going through right now. And I'm excited to jump into that. But before we get started, real quick, this is Milton at miltonherring.com. Maximize most Milton. Check me out there. Sign up for our weekly Maximizing Digest. Comes to email every week, and love to have you sign up for that. But without further ado, I want to thank DJ for his time, and we're going to jump into this. With a great question, DJ, give me what's really on your heart right now.
Man, just a lot of things, to be honest. Obviously with this situation kind of has been going on as well, the pandemic, and then obviously the whole situation in Georgia with Ahmad and all them things like that. So it's like my mind's just kind of be speaking about just being hopeful about a lot of things. Like just the way the world is right now, like people tend to lose faith and hope about things. So I kind of want to just touch on hope and having faith, and just kind of like, make sure we take care of things we need to take care of, to make sure we maintain, so we're not kind of suffering as much as we need to.
And we're gonna talk about some hope today, guys, and just thinking about this, we talk about a lot of things that's going on right now during the pandemic, COVID-19. Is a lot of fear and uncertainty, and even anxiety for a lot of people. It's a total shift, game changer, if you will, as far as life goes, right? We've been
Yeah,
on
most
this
definitely.
we've been on this path of go, 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 do. It's been like this. It's been like this since I was born. It's been like this since I started working. It's been like this since I started playing football. And then also it's a boom, brakes hit, and everything went flying off of the car, so to speak. And a lot of people right now are really being challenged with fear, because fear is really, for me, and you can talk about this, DJ, as well. But fear is, it's a lack of control, I think, in people's lives, right? And it's a lack of
Yeah.
the uncertainty. Like you said, we talk about uncertainty and control. What do you think about that?
I just think, I mean, it's just like you said, it's just like the uncertainties, just like in life with anything that happens, it's like change, people want change, but they're not willing to accept what goes into change. So like if you want to move and get a new job, people just stay complacent in the job and doing the same thing over and over again. Well, maybe one day I'm going to take that leap and go, but they waste those years and then sit there and just kind of, what I mean, piss those years down the drain. So it's like, you're not taking action. So it's like how fear is. Like people are afraid to be great, or afraid to do things, like, and they're just complacent, which kind of falls back to being comfortable about a lot of things. People just get complacent of being comfortable instead of just saying, you know what, I'm gonna do what I have to do right now and make the sacrifice now, instead of going out every Friday and Saturday and partying and running money like this to build my empire and self-improve and work my relationships, work on my goals, my dreams, my aspirations,
Right.
and they just get complacent. So they get afraid of fear, the fear of just taking that first step. You can, like, a lot of the great people do it. Like they tell you the hardest part is taking that first step. Once you take that first step, you start taking the stroll down the hill, like, okay, cool, maybe let me keep going. You know what I mean? Like another example would be, think about it. When people talk about going to the gym, the first step, the hardest part is going the first time. Then when you start getting a routine going and things going progressively, then that's how your life starts getting better and improving. You know what I mean? So
It's
that's kind of
true.
what I. Go ahead.
And no, it's true. It's true, because it's like walking through the door, right? Sometimes I gotta tell myself when even if I'm going to the gym every day and I don't feel like it that day, it's like, gosh, just give myself one goal. Let me just walk through the door.
Yeah.
Just, if I can step a foot in the door, then maybe the rest of it will come. Like, okay, I'll see a machine I like, or and then I get started, then the adrenaline gets going, and you start pumping, and you're like, okay, let's it, and you leave feeling really good about yourself. But you're right. There's a lot of people are taking the complacent road, right? The comfortable road. Like
Yeah.
everything's been handed to you. And I wonder, and I commend you, DJ, for um, going after strengthening your relationships, growing yourself as a man and a human being, because the better you are, the more that you can give to other people, the best you can give to other people. And I think that's what you're doing right now, and
Hmm.
utilizing this time, not just this pandemic COVID time, not as a thing to cry or to give in, or to, oh, I can't wait till it's over, but you're like, let me
Hmm.
use this time to build the best man that I can be. I know,
Yeah.
because and even when this is over, or we think it's going to be over, or things quote unquote get normal again, change is a part of life. Something else is going to,
Hmm.
there's going to be something else that comes in our way, that obstacles going to come across. And I wonder, and this is, as you're talking, DJ, I'm thinking, how come I feel like that? I'm a former athlete, you're an athlete. How come I feel like some athletes have sometimes innate ability to kind of, when they're faced with adversity, they put one foot in front of the other versus running back? Do you think that's part of just the training aspect? How do you think that comes about?
I just think, to be honest, there's to me, I could tell you that there's two types of pain in this world. You know what I'm saying? And some people have the pain where, like, you stub your toe on the bed, and, you know what I'm saying, you have that pain, and then you have that pain that changes you. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm,
I think a lot of athletes that go through a lot of things, we go through so many adversities, which I'm not saying everybody else in the world doesn't go through adversities, but many athletes come just trying to make it, to have a better life for their families or whoever helped them along the way to get to where they at. So I think it builds that it's in you, that you grind, that you can't fail no matter what. I mean, that's why you give your all. You sit out, you do the 6 a.m. workouts, the summer workouts, like, I mean, even going to college, all those things like that, like, all those things play a factor in that, because you put in that time and effort to manifest your dreams in reality. So your goal is always to not give up on those things. I mean, no matter how bad it hurts, or how hard it is to wake up in the morning, regardless, we have consequences, but you still keep pushing through no matter what. You know what I mean? So to answer your question, I just think for us athletes, like, that's just the mentality we have, because the coaching and the teaching from the coaches that inspired us, or just like that pain of not failing or going back to how situations were, whether you come from, I'm saying, the ghettos, you know what I'm saying, or to like a mid class or high class, whatever, you know what I mean? But the people that come from the bottom, we don't want to go back to that lifestyle, you know what I mean? We just want mom to have a bed or a roof over her head or all the peoples and things like that, you know? So I think that kind of like motivates athletes to kind of get like that. You know what I mean? I know for me growing up, like I didn't have anything, you know what I mean? Like I grew up, I was taken away from my mother, you know, and literally all I had was just the thought of seeing my mother again, you know, like it was okay. That's what kept me going through. Is like, okay, I got to see this woman. Like I talked to my mother one time since I came back, you know what I mean? So like just the hope of like, well, I'm gonna see this lady again, you know, kept me going through the foster cares and abuse and neglect, all that stuff like that, and it kept me pushing. And then when I found football, that just was a tool and avenue that kind of like helped me use my skill set to the best of my advantage and kind of release my anger in an appropriate way, you know. So I think the coaching and teaching from coaches kind of like teaches us to do that.
And I think that you hit on that point really good because as athletes, and you're right, maximizers. Not everybody is an athlete that listens to this, and I'm not saying you got to be an athlete to be an overcomer and achiever, because a lot of people have gone through really tough situations in their life, and have overcome. And have been more than a conqueror, so to speak, even though they've been through some difficult times. But I think as an athlete, you can talk about this. Somebody may be in the military that they we I guess we they continually put themselves under stressful situations almost day in and day out. And so when you put yourself in those stressful situations, it becomes like a normal thing. So when fear or when uncertainty or pandemics or COVID-19 comes, it's more like, okay, this is normal. Okay, this I remember this. I know this feeling of
Most definitely.
being in that stressful situation, and again. And I think that goes back to complacency, right? Because if you don't put
Yep.
yourself in those situations where you're uncomfortable or that you are stressed out, not meaning that in a bad way stressed out, but in a way that makes you go to another level, so to speak, in your own
Yep.
thinking and on your own life, then you're gonna fall by the wayside. You're gonna cave into the fear and the doubt and the anxiety. And I think that's so important to understand that we as people, as maximizers, and those that have struggled from the bottom, and I know in your book, and we're going to talk about a little bit about that too, but that have come from really below meager circumstances, and to the point where you're ripped away from a family. I mean, I can't imagine being taken away from my family,
Mm-hmm.
and then working your way to get back to what you know, the what you want to know, the thing that you love, the thing that that you want to be around again. And I think that's something we've got to always consider to be part of our life. And I know I
Mm-hmm.
want you to talk about this, DJ. I mean, you talk about the hope that you're faced with adversity, but you found hope. And this is I think Maximizer is going to relate to you, and we're talking about fear and anxiety and uncertainty. And what's one thing, it could be many things, but it could be, what's one thing that can help you climb out of this hole? And talk about your hope, DJ. Talk about where you found your hope and how that meant to you.
Obviously for me, hope has played an intricate part in just kind of getting me to where I'm at today. You know, just a little background for myself. I was born in the States, a U.S. citizen, and moved to Nigeria, stayed there for, until I was about 10 years old. So I came back to kind of spend time with a person I was supposed to call my father, but when I came back, he was like nowhere near to be found. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so to learn a whole different culture and speaking different dialects and not speak English and come up here and have to learn how to cook and clean on your own, so not understanding anything. And the person supposed to be your father to teach you those things, not being around and, and, and kind of like supposed to build that bond, because you can have a father and son relationship, but if you don't have a bond, like there is nothing there really. You know what I mean? Just like, yeah, that's what it is, and that's the relationship I had with him. I just had somewhat of a relationship that I knew who he was and wasn't really around. You know what I mean? Like the turmoil that he put my mother through, and obviously I wasn't even planned. Like I was born like that. You know what I mean? While he was still married and stuff to another lady. Like so, it just the whole thing was crazy. But so like all those things just kind of like drove me like to kind of have a better one a better life for my mother. So when I was taken, I came back to the United States for a better education. I started like learning everything like that. I started showing up to school being abused. Once I got placed in foster care, I had spoken to my mother one time on the phone while I was in foster care,
Mm,
and that's what kind of kept me going through. You know what I mean? Because communication with Nigeria at the time wasn't as up to par as it is now. So like talking to her was kind of like not even, you know what I'm saying, possible, you know. So I spoke to her one time on the phone, and that was it. And that was the last time I didn't know that would be the last time I heard from this lady, you know, from this love of my life, whatever woman. So all these years of like abuse and going through all the foster care and all the stuff like that, when I went back to Nigeria and got left there with no passport, that's when I found out that my mother had passed away. You know what I mean? So it kind of took me back to 1 year after I came back to where like I had a conversation on the phone. So like just the hearing her voice that last time and not understanding it was gonna be the last time ever, you know, it just kind of motivated me. You know what I mean? Because my mother, she taught me everything in this world that I need to know, but the only thing she never taught me was how to live life without her. You know what I mean? So
Mm,
that kind of hit home some type of way. So that kind of kept me and motivated me and gave me hope because just the person she was, like she would put everybody else before herself. You know, like she took care of the family, she took care of me when I was sick. She was a nurse, like you know what I mean. So you know how nurses are. Just like I said, nurses in the front line, which I commend all you guys what you guys doing right now. You know, so that's why I support you guys because my mother was one. You know, she put
mm,
her in the front lines and deal with things like that when dealing with everybody else and make sure she was the hero. Like you know what I mean. Like she didn't ask nothing in return of it. So she poured her heart and soul out to helping other people. So that's kind of what gave me hope to keep pushing and want a better life for myself. You know what I mean? Although I was here by myself and I had some great people along the way. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? From the moment I got, you know what I'm saying, placed in my permanent home to going through, you know what I'm saying, elementary, not elementary, high school and things like that. I had some great people that kind of helped me along the way. You know what I mean? So like those things just kind of helped me push me, progress me, just give me hope that hey, at the end of the day, no matter what you're going through, no matter how bad things can get, that it's always gonna instantly get better. You know what I mean? You might not like it, it might not be today, but eventually it will get better. You know what I mean? Just like this pandemic right now. Hey, we're going through it. Everybody's going through the struggles. We're all fighting daily and whatever. But the biggest thing you have to do right now, you know, is put your energy in things that are beneficial and work on things you need to work on. You know, like your relationships, your life, your health, like your finances, and also like you know, what I mean, people like right now, their mindset state is all about just worrying about, oh my god, like this people died, right? And I get it, you losing people left and right, but when you do that, is when people start to like just bring more problems on themselves. Because think about it, when you worry about one thing, guess what comes next?
mm-hmm.
Another worry, then another worry. Oh my God, okay, I gotta pay bills this month. Oh my
Right,
God, who's cooking
right.
dinner this month? Then all the things start piling up on top of each other, and then guess what? You start taking on other people. It might be the people you care about. They might say something to you, you just pissed off one day and you just fire back at them like this. Boom. You know what I mean? Instead of being, you know what? I'm just worried about right now. I'm gonna worry about today. I'm gonna worry about getting through today. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, they said there's 86,400 seconds in a day. You know what I mean? What did you do with all those seconds? Did you take 1 second to tell the man upstairs thank you? Did you tell the family you love them? Like all the things like that. You know what I mean? So that's what you have to put your energy into and focus on. So that's kind of what drove me to have hope and just kind of keep progressing. And throughout my experiences, that's what I'm doing now, and trying to give back to people to help understand that, hey, you might be going through some things, but just have hope. You know what I mean? The main thing will be faith. They say faith is like Wi-Fi. You might not see it, but you always connected. You know what I mean? So always
Mm.
have faith. So
Just like that's awesome, man. Just like you said, worry never stops, really, and just like worry never stops, I guarantee you, faith never stops either. If you keep believing, keep hoping, you will continue that train and that momentum and movement, and look at the things ahead versus the things that are probably behind you, and that's important to know. And I love that quote you say. You said your mother taught you how to live, but she didn't teach you how to live without her. That's
most
that's
definitely.
that's powerful, and I think, and I see that even playing parallel to today, that a lot of people were taught how to live with what they have in front of them, and what they have their hands on. But then once it's taken away, they weren't taught how to live past that, and that's
Mhm.
where faith and that's where hope and belief comes in. That things will get better, and just like you talked about, DJ, that even though you were going through all this abuse and foster care and just the lack, and whatever, all the things that you went through, that there were people that came around you. God, I'll use it. God put people around you to continue to grow you and mentor you and to bring you up and to give you a hand up when you needed it. And I think that's important to know that even to today, guys, that maximize fear is it's a real thing, right? If fear is a real thing,
Mhm.
uncertainty is a real thing. I go through. I'm sure DJ goes through it,
Yeah.
but it's the response to it that's most important. It's the response to it, and you have the ability to respond. That's what responsibility is, right? We have the ability to respond differently than what the
Mm-hmm.
world or the culture is doing, and I think that's so powerful that we can have that ability and that power to be able to choose differently. I want to I want you also to share, DJ, like, and I know that going through right now, even, I mean, I don't know if you could parallel your life growing up to right now, what you're doing, and growing your business and growing your image and brand. How do those two things reflect against one another right now, and doing those?
So obviously, currently, just kind of with all the things that you know what I'm saying that I've been through in my life, which some of us, you know what I'm saying, open up a can of worms and as well too as myself, you know, and so we're just trying to find ways to keep going, you know. So for me personally, like the vision I've had has always been just to trying to give back, you know what I mean, like, and that's how like what life is about, you know. When you get to the top of the platform or pedestal you're in, you always have, like, you should always reach back and help people get to where you at. You know what I mean? That's how we better ourselves, whether it be whatever community you're part of, you know. So I've always been trying to give back to my family, like you said, that have been struggling, trying to get back to the youth because they're the future of tomorrow, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I've worked with kids for 8 years now, just trying to be a mentor, a counselor, role model to them. You know what I'm saying? Trying to give them some of the advice that I wish I had growing up. You know what I mean? Because for me, like, I wanted somebody to be there like my whole life and give me that advice. You know what I mean? Like senior night for like football and graduations and things like that. I wanted my peoples there. You know what I mean? But I had to hold my chin held high with no people walking up there with me. You know what I mean? So like, I wanted like the person I called my father there, but he was never even there. Like he never even attempted to even try to show up to those things. You know what I mean? So everything was just kind of what it was. You know? But so that kind of just inspired me to say, hey, look, all these kids that are struggling through foster care, why not trying to help them trying to have a better life? You know what I mean? Because I knew what the struggles felt like. I knew what worked for me, what I didn't like, and what could it be better from that situation. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it takes us going through certain things and individual things in life for us to understand what we could do to better whatever situation it is. You know what I mean? So, like right now, I'm going and building my brand, which is called Fostering Dreams. I just posted on social media and things like that where I started introducing it. So I'm gonna be doing a lot of things with that, going out in the communities once the world open up or whatever it may be, you know, trying to help out foster care kids. And one thing that I hated was in foster care when I left home, I didn't have any clothes at all. You know what I mean? So I had to wear other people's clothes. Sometimes clothes were too short, shoes were all beat up, had holes in them, and had a trash bag full of clothes when you went home to home. You know what I mean? So trying to figure out different ways to improve the system a little bit. You know, not not saying the whole system is perfect, but I'm a prime example kind of coming out through the system, you know what I mean, as a success story, you know. So not everybody makes it, but I'm here. But so I can kind of give it back and trying to work in that accord. I just started my website, which is going to launch tonight. It's called djlester.com. It's going to have like blogs on there. I'm going to post the intro today, but I'm going to start posting things about pain, hope, sadness, things like that, and kind of share some of my experiences, some of the things I went through, you know what I mean? And I'm open to people kind of like reaching out and asking questions about things. I'm here to just listen. You know what I mean? If you need advice about anything, I'm here as well too. You know what I mean? So that's the ways I'm trying to give back to people as well. You know, just stay engaged with people and trying to help you out. Sometimes we all just need somebody just to listen to. Like I'm here to listen to, you know what I mean, and learn from different people's perspectives and different opinions as well, you know. So those are some of the things I'm working on. I've been working with kind of training youth as well too for football and teaching them some of the skills that I knew that worked for me when I was in college and things like that. So it's just always about just giving back, you know. That's all it is, you know. Like you give back to people and change the generation, you know what I mean. So if you don't help these kids out, you don't help people out, then what are we here for?
Right. Powerful story, DJ. Hey, DJ, how can people listening to this, what can they do to help you? What can they do for you? What would you like them
um,
to do?
to be honest, like all I need is just support from everybody. You know what I mean? Obviously, um, my my brand is starting up right now. If you just like, share it, you know what I'm saying, share with other people. Get out there, grab the book, share with other people. You know what I mean? Just share the story, leave reviews on Amazon and things like that or whatever. I would definitely appreciate that. You know what I mean? Like that's all I ask. You know what I mean? If you purchase the book, all I ask is just leave a review. You know what I mean? It's done too much, whatever. If you want to sit down and have a conversation or email me or write me on my webpage, djlester.com, you can communicate with me as well there and I'll stay in contact with you, whether you just need advice or you want to meet up and have lunch or do something, you know what I mean? Just talk about life. You could do that as well too. If you want me to talking about my experiences and see how I can correlate to your life, you could do that as well too. But that's all I ask, you know, and it's not too much that I ask for. I'm not out here trying to ask for $1 million or whatever. I mean, it would be nice because, you know, but
Maximizers, you've heard DJ Lester. Please, let's support him. Those that are listening, support DJ Lester. His mission and purpose is worthy right now. Um, he's an author, professional athlete, mentor, coach, and love to see us support him and his journeys down this road and path. And outside of COVID-19 and pandemic, if you ever feel like you're coming across obstacles or challenges in your life, please pick up the book. Look up DJ Lester, read some of his blog stuff, and it's gonna help you. I guarantee it's gonna lift you and boost you today. So, thank you, DJ Lester, for your time. Again, always you can come on anytime. You got an open invitation anytime you can come and share and be a part of this episode. So I want to say thank you, and thank you, DJ.
thank you, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks to everybody for tuning in and listening. Make sure you go grab the book. Make sure you just check out my website, djlester.com. I'm all on social media, _Lester1. So make sure you follow me and start posting content. Start getting people engagements and things like that. Love you guys. God bless. Make you guys stay safe. I'm praying for you. I know the world seems like it's just going sporadic right now, but you guys just stay faithful. Stay faithful. You know what I mean? Have faith in people. Always work out. You know what I mean? So I'm praying for each and every one of you guys, and make sure you guys stay blessed.
Amen. Thank you for that. Again, Maximizers, you know my hope and prayers that anytime we do this episode is to help you maximize any given moment in your life towards success. Until then, guys, next time, peace.
Peace. Have a good one.